What's up, Night Owl? Still here back with another Candlekeep video, and today we're having a look at Alkazaar's Appendix. And as always, I've got two new maps for you. The book actually gives you three, but I didn't feel that the necropolis needed to be recreated. It is black and white, but I think the necropolis map is a good map on its own, and just to save time, I only recreated the Mastaba map and the Haroon map. So the necropolis map I think is okay on its own. It's not a battle map. The party isn't going to move across it. It is just a city map, and I think it's fine. This adventure is one of the good ones, especially if you're really into Dungeons and Dragons lore. It has the party digging up a lot of Netherese culture, which is pretty typical in a lot of D&D adventures, but this one actually has a nether scroll, which if you follow D&D lore and you know what that is, you know how big of a deal that is for the party to actually find one of these ancient Netherese scrolls, or nether scrolls, which is just too cool. This adventure is designed for a 15th level party, and the premise of it is that the party finds a picture of a stone golem which teleports them to a desert that has been completely destroyed by the mistakes of the Netherese, and the party needs to venture into a tomb that contains a Netherese scroll. The twist is that there is a Dracolich protecting the tomb, and that has been there for a very long time. As a matter of fact, the Dracolich was a blue dragon at one time and became a Dracolich so that it could wait out this protective bubble that is around the tomb. It's a really good story. I love the story of this adventure. It's a really good one. Now, if you've been following my Candlekeep guides up to this point, you've probably noticed that I never really like how these adventures are started, and this one is no exception. The party finds a book, they open it up, there's a picture in it, and they get teleported into the desert right next to the stone golem that starts the quest. I cannot stand this introduction. I had an NPC that sort of hinted. What I did for my Candlekeep adventures is I tied in these last adventures. If you are doing this as a one-shot, you'll have to come up with a way to introduce this stone golem. Maybe the party's already exploring and they find it, or they find the magic picture in a book. What I did was I had an NPC that was helping the players cure the curse from the previous chapter. I didn't have the curse resolve in the previous chapter, and they needed to find this nether scroll in order to deal with it. That's one way that you can do it if you're running the campaign all the way through, but if you're just doing this as a one-shot, you'll need a way to get the party to this stone golem where they will meet two natives of the Auroch Desert. These two NPCs will provide the party the information they need to progress to the next stage of the adventure, which is the cave with the purple worm. They'll also give some exposition about the Netherese and why this desert is the way it is, because the Netherese screwed up and the magic tainted this place, and it sort of cursed this once lush land into a barren desert. And it also describes why the Bedine shun magic culturally. And before I go any further with this adventure, I want to warn you that if you run this adventure by the book and use everything that's provided, this could easily fill out 2 4-hour game sessions instead of 1. So you may need to make cuts depending on the length of your game sessions, how much time you have, and how much time you want to spend on this adventure. There is a lot going on in here, traveling across the desert, the random encounters, some of the encounter, like the dragon turtle encounter, and then there's the necropolis itself, the cave with the purple worm. There's a ton of stuff in this adventure that will fill up a lot of time and can easily fill out 2 4-hour game sessions. So keep that in mind. Once the party has the information they need, they're going to need to travel across the desert to the caves of Haroon in order to gather more information to reach the next section of the adventure. On the way there, the book gives you a number of random encounters to choose from, like Cyclops, Roxasha. There's even an Androsphinx with a riddle. Feel free to change this riddle if your party has done this before, or if you suspect that the party has read the Candlekeep book or anything like that. Feel free to change this riddle. The Androsphinx is going to give them a riddle. If they get it wrong, it will attack. And then finally, the party will also hear whispers of the Netherese as they travel across the desert. Once the party arrives at Haroon, they're going to be able to tell immediately that a purple worm dwells here, just from the smell of purple worm poo and the tunnels that the purple worm has created throughout this cave system. The party will have to dig through rubble in order to reach the murals on the walls that will breadcrumb them to the next section of the adventure, the Mastaba and the necropolis. And digging through this rubble could trigger the attack of the purple worm. Now, it's entirely up to you as the DM when you want this purple worm to attack. You can have the deck saves and rocks falling trigger. Maybe their loud conversations could trigger, or you could just like time it on your own. Like this moment feels appropriate for the purple worm to attack the party. I waited until they got through the rubble and were in a decent position within the tunnel, and I kind of gave them a hint that the purple worm was there. Like when they failed a deck save to move the or a strength check to move the rubble, and they made some noise, I had the ground rumble that the purple worm was there and moving around. Just give them that vibe, like that sense of danger is imminent, and the purple worm is coming. And I had a lot of fun with that. Now, once the party has a look at these murals, this is the time to fill them in with any story details that they may be missing from the NPCs, and just dump everything on them through these murals. This is the part where you talk about the blue dragon that's waiting at the mastaba and became a Dracolich, and sort of hint at the fact that they became a Dracolich and now has eternity to wait for that shield to fall. The source of the shield itself being the leader who buried themselves in the tomb, and their life force is maintaining this bubble. And once they eventually die, the bubble goes away and the Dracolich can claim the Nether Scroll. Make sure the party is aware of all of this information from these murals. You also want the party to learn of the location of the necropolis from these murals so they can progress to the next part of the adventure and find where the Nether Scroll is and the bubble and the Dracolich and all those things. Once they learn of that information and they make that travel to the necropolis, there's one more encounter that you have that is optional, and that's with a dragon turtle that is trapped in the desert, that was magically bound to this desert from Netherese wizards and has been here the entire time, and is currently being protected by Chwingas. There's not much to this encounter. It's simply role-playing with a dragon turtle that's trapped in the desert and a bunch of Chwingas, and casting a dispel magic to break the bonds that are holding the dragon turtle here. And it's a really cool encounter that I ran, even though there's not much to it. There's no combat, there's no like exposition or anything like that. It's just a dragon turtle trapped in the desert, and I thought that was really cool. All right, now for exploring the necropolis itself. I highly recommend that if you're only doing this for one game session, that you cut out this necropolis completely, give them like a brief sentence about the city surrounding the mastaba, and then just move straight to the temple itself and the swirling vortex of sand that's protecting the temple. Just give them a brief description. Don't really run into any of these encounters. And again, this is strictly for time, but in my opinion, this necropolis section is just kind of filler, and there's already so much going on in this adventure. Now, if you do stretch this out across 2 adventures, I recommend stopping here after the dragon turtle and arriving at the necropolis. Stop there. That's a good stopping point. And then pick up at the next session, explore the necropolis, find the swirling vortex of sand that's protecting the mastaba, have them figure out how to get through it, and then mastaba itself, and then boss fight. As for the magical sandstorm that's circling the temple, the only way to get through it without taking a ton of guaranteed damage, no save, is to cast dispel magic on it to create a tunnel that reaches to the other side. And the book tells you that the stone golem that's been following the party can cast dispel magic, and create a tunnel through it. But I don't like the idea of the golem just sort of doing it on its own. And if you want the party to figure out how to open up this tunnel, the book doesn't have any indication that a dispel magic will create this tunnel. And I ran several groups through this, and they didn't even think to use dispel magic. Again, the stone golem has the ability. If you want them to actually figure something out, you're going to have to like give them more clues than what's provided. Otherwise, the stone golem can just walk up, open the door, and then they can move through the sandstorm. So it's really up to you whether you want to make this a puzzle or a sort of cinematic event leading to the temple. It's entirely up to you. Arriving at the temple, the party is going to encounter a storm giant skeleton, some scorpions, and some wights. Now, we don't have any artwork for this storm giant skeleton, so I shamelessly grabbed the frost giant skeleton from Rime of the Frost Maiden and used that as a filler. I feel like they'll look exactly the same. The artwork, I feel like that's safe. If you have Rime of the Frost Maiden, you can pull the artwork for that and just show them that, hey, look. When I provided the artwork, the handout for my party, I even like comically scratched out the word frost and wrote in storm for the storm giant skeleton, just to be funny. It looks similar. I mean, I feel like they look exactly the same. And I'll put. Now, once the party has dealt with all of them, they'll progress inside of the temple and immediately encounter the Dracolich that has been waiting for over 1,000 years for the bubble, actually 2,000 years for the bubble to collapse so that they can get inside and steal that nether scroll. This fight is not challenging for a 15th level party. It is one creature in a confined space with a fly speed in a confined space. So they don't get to use their flying, and it's not, they're going to be able to drop this creature quickly, especially if a paladin to smite the undead. By now, your wizards are rocking 8th level spells. So it's going to be hard. I would recommend putting minions in here and having this fight take place outside the temple. Maybe have a phase of the fight where like the dragon gets low and flies out, or like the roof of the temple bursts off, like the roof shoots off and then the dragon flies out. I personally had the dragon. If you want to do what I did, I didn't have the dragon here at the temple at all. The party arrived once the party defeated the storm giant skeleton. They went inside the temple, claimed the nether scroll, and then went home, quest complete. And then once they arrived at Candlekeep, the Dracolich actually attacked Candlekeep directly. And there's probably some of you that are saying, well, Candlekeep has this protective bubble. The dragon wouldn't be able to get through. There are two examples in the lore of dragons attacking Candlekeep. For one, the ghost dragon in the base of Candlekeep is there because it attacked Candlekeep and a powerful wizard had to stop the dragon. And another example is Arviaturis from Rime of the Frost Maiden came to Candlekeep and attacked one of the scholars in order to force them to rewrite a textbook that they wrote. So having another example of a dragon attack Candlekeep is really cinematic. Showing up with an army of undead to attack Candlekeep could be a really cinematic adventure. Obviously, the adventure does not go that path. They just have the dragon within the temple and the party walks in and fight it. But I wanted to spice up these last few adventures because these are a pretty big deal. And I really, really wanted to attack Candlekeep after running it for 15 sessions. I really wanted to have a dragon show up and a horde of undead just completely destroy Candlekeep. So that was a pleasant experience. And I can assure you that if you run this Candlekeep, if you run this entire book from start to finish, you're going to want to destroy this place by the end of it as well. And that's all I have for Alkazaar's Appendix. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, you know how YouTube works. Hit those buttons, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of my changes to the adventure. Let me know if you made any changes to it personally, or if you stuck with it how it is. And let me know how many sessions it took you to complete this adventure. If you did the 2 sessions, if you did 1 and you managed to get all the way through it, let me know down there in the comments. And if you want to be a part of this D&D community, make sure you join the Discord. Link is in the description. Come by, ask questions, let me know what you think. And as always, I'll see you at sundown.